Hey guys, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to share some of the things that I've learned and to hopefully bring value to everyone here. So what this talk is going to be about, it's about how to increase dramatically your video's ROI without really needing to spend a cent on advertising. And I only have two rules in this presentation. It's going to be two 25, 30 power-packed minutes, and I only have two rules. So I need you to pay attention fully. Wherever you are, just leave the distractions, close the door, be fully here, take your notepad, take some notes, and be sure to take action from the things that I'm talking about, because we know that without action, really nothing moves, okay? So promise, so I can give you my best and just be fully here. And I also have a surprise, okay, for you till the end, for you guys that stayed all the way to the end in your seats for the next 30 minutes. So basically what I want to start is just a quick story to give you some context on how I stumbled upon YouTube and video. And I don't know, a couple of years ago, it was like I was like in university, it was like 7 or 8 years ago. And I remember that I wanted to promote my online business, right? So I went to Google, and I remember Googling something like how to get traffic for free, right? Because I didn't want to pay for traffic. I didn't know about advertising. I didn't have any money as a college student. So I wanted to get some traffic, right? So that got me into the whole journey of learning about search engine optimization, learning about content, learning about how to rank websites, right? So my background is really in search engine and search engine optimization, and then I started to Google, and then I had my own thing going, some clients, some stuff like that, and I stumbled upon this company, the biggest personal growth company in the world, Mindvalley, and I really liked what they were doing, and they didn't have any organic traffic strategy at that time. So I sent them a video on how they could improve it, and eventually I got hired, right? And I helped with the team grow the Google side, and then while I was doing some tests in Google, right, and Googling, I stumbled upon something which was kind of cutting edge at the time, which was like around less than 3 years ago, so quite recent actually. And the thing was that when you type on Google, right, for example, this is one of our authors, Jim Quick, and when you type on Google something, there's some videos that appear. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I cannot see the comment box, but if you have, you just comment, I have seen that, or put one as yes. And when you Google something, you actually get to see videos in YouTube, right? So I was like, wow, what if Google, because it's own YouTube, it owns YouTube, being the second biggest search engine in the world that YouTube is. What if they have the similar principles when it comes to search engines and search? And what if it's similar, right? So this was the whole question. And I started to experiment ways to optimize and ways to convert and use the content that you already have, or use even video that you already have, and to put it in a platform such as YouTube, and to create value from it, bring customers and awareness, right? And that's kind of how it started, right? Really doing the proof of concept. And then fast forward 3 years, I pretty much lead 20 YouTube channels in the personal development niche, mosely. All of Mindvalley's heading strategy, we had millions of subscribers, 10,000, 10 million of subscribers around. I do either consulting or the also had growth in these channels as well as an advisor, consultant, or whatever, right? So everything that I'm going to share with you here is really the patterns that I've seen at scale that come from the 20 plus YouTube channels, 10 million subscribers, and 100 million views a year across multiple industries and languages. This is actually what I'm going to share with you, some of the experience, so that hopefully you don't make some of the mistakes that I've made, and hopefully your videos can actually give you more ROI, right? I find it fascinating that, Billo it's a great video platform, and the way the videos they create, and I do that they do a lot of ads, but a lot of what we created is how do we create those videos without actually pushing ads, and how do we get them to convert organically, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about, and that's the basis. And a lot of those lessons actually also come from not only vanity metrics as subscribers or views, but also when it comes to tangible value and revenue, right? So these lessons comes from growing from 0 to 7 figures organically in 5 different languages, right? Spanish, English, German, French. Um, and what I've done, as I said, is I've deciphered the patterns on how to make your content and messaging generate a bigger ROI, right? Because that's pretty much what we want, right? We want to generate a bigger ROI. So I basically created a method. It's a 4-step method, and it's called Rock, right? I'm going to explain that method in a second. But Rock pretty much comes from around 5,000 hours of testing, of experimenting, and of testing different things. And I kind of saw like patterns, right? Like principles. That's Rock. And Rock is basically a way to make sense of this, like complex moving world, like content, content calendars and content creation, and kind of give you the things that never change, right? So the difference is that I usually focus on the things that really don't change, instead of what's changing all the time, right? And this has allowed us to really be at the forefront and have a really competitive edge in this industry. So why is video, I'm just going to put the context of why is this important. And I don't know if you guys know, but you should. 49%, right, of businesses have faster growth in revenue by using video content against the ones that they're not using video content, right? So it's making video the best type of return on investment, right? And now what about videos being hosted on YouTube, right? Because I'm going to talk about YouTube and video a lot. So basically it says that a third part of the online activity is spent actually watching video content, right? Making YouTube the most popular video search engine with over 1 billion hours of video consumed each single day. That is driving around 150% increase in organic traffic for businesses. Now, if you're thinking, hey, you know what, like YouTube is really competitive, there's many people doing it, and I don't know, you're completely wrong. This is one of the best times to actually jump on this platform. And the reason is because the reason why YouTube is so valuable is because it gives you 3 things really, really tangibly, which is give you the brand awareness, the branding. It gives you a way to retain your customers and reactivate your prospects, right? So even if you never get a view or a subscriber, I think you owe it to your customers and your prospects to send them content to keep them top of mind, right? Can you do that in Facebook? Yeah, it's kind of weird someone sending a Facebook video in an email, right? Or an Instagram. So it's more of that, right? Plus, it actually increased more of their lifetime value and their warmness in a YouTube video. And the third one, which is actually something I'm going to talk about as well, is you can convert to new customers. It's actually it actually is a way that you can convert way more in a systematic way, more evergreen instead of more like recency, and that gets me thinking about also, it's about compound viewership, right? So basically what YouTube offers is that throughout time, if you implement some of the things that I'm going to talk about here, your views will grow from a video, right? Eventually, it's like you can see videos 5-6 years ago that still get views. And the difference between TikTok, Instagram, Facebook is that it's one-off viewership, meaning that the more time it passes, the less that it goes, right? So I asked, what do you want, right? Like, you want your money to grow over time and compound, right? Or you want it to just grow and then all of a sudden kind of decrease. That's one of the biggest distinctions of YouTube. If you're going to take something of notes, take this. because this is the biggest distinction, right? It's kind of weird to find a viral video 2 years ago that someone sent you from Facebook or from Instagram, right? So this is what makes it valuable, because it compounds and it compounds. And if you're in YouTube, you have a YouTube channel, or you've seen this, you've actually you know this, you've seen this, right? You actually get more views from videos that you've created some time ago. So I'm going to bring it back to rock and the method, because the method is what I'm going to show you each strategy. So what's rock, right? And I put a rock star guy so that you guys remember it. But rock is pretty much four steps. The first one is research, okay? And the second one is optimization, okay? The third one is content. And the fourth one is kaching. This is what I say, like conversion, right? So we're going to go into the step one, okay? So research. So what is research, right? Research is really all about being searchable, right? YouTube is a search engine, right? Even Facebook, even Instagram, they're search engines. They have so much data coming into them that they have to figure out a way to serve content to certain people, right? How do they do that? They become search engines, right? Social search engines of information. So research, basically, it's the basis is it's all about being searchable. Now, the key distinction here against other platforms is that Google and Facebook are really search based, right? And Facebook and Instagram, that are more interest based, right? It's more like I like cats, right? So there's a Facebook page, I like cats. It's more like interests, right? You don't really know how many people are typing and how many people are looking for what you want, okay? So that's the distinction when it comes to search-based and interest-based. Usually, search-based platform will be way more valuable because you know what the client is looking for. And you don't have to push your marketing on the face of people. You can pull them, right? You can pull them by optimizing your content that you've created. So let me show you an example. If I were to type how to grow your business, right, and on Google, you would actually see one of my videos that it's how to grow your business, and then there's one on the top of Gary Vee, and basically we did that intentionally, right? We did that with intention. We optimized according to what people will be looking for. So what are the tools that I use to do that? Okay, so the tools that I use is two tools. One of them is aatrevs.com. Okay, this is one of the best tools when it comes to figuring out how many people search for what you have, what you have, or the needs of people. And they can search about how to grow your business. They can search about how to remove anxiety, how to speed read, right? And or anything like that, right? How to create better ads, right? Maybe your product. I know that a couple of people are here in e-commerce, right? The product or the solution or the pain that your product needs. So Ahrefs is really a keyword research, a market research tool where you can find keywords when it comes to YouTube. Now, I think something that I want to share, it's kind of like a secret that Google team told me, was that people in third world countries actually use more YouTube than Google to search and to use it as a search engine platform. Meaning YouTube is actually the biggest search engine in many countries where people type to find their answer. And maybe you have thought about the same, right? I mean, how many of you have been to YouTube and typed something you wanted? Either you wanted to learn, you wanted to buy, you wanted to know more information about, right? And then TubeBuddy is a tool that I use as well to to get accurate recommendations, keywords, thumbnails, optimize that. So those are the two tools that I use. Now I'm going to give you like an advanced secret, right? An advanced like strategy, which many people don't use, which it's like it's really a pity. But there's a free tool, okay? Because these two tools, Ahrefs and TubeBuddy, are paid. They're like, I don't know, like $49 a month or something. But YouTube Trends is actually in Google, right? And you go and Google Trends, there's a way in Google Trends that you can actually open up YouTube Trends, right? So YouTube Trends is there as well. So we can actually know the trends. Now, why is this important? Is because sometimes you don't know the keywords because it's a new trending keyword, right? So we can know The objective here is that we can know the keywords that are trending right now. And that's really powerful because we're able to first see different trends of where things are going. For example, when COVID hit, the pandemic and everything, many people wanted different things. They wanted more at home things, right? So if you're an e-commerce store and you know that they want, people couldn't cut their hair, right? So they had to buy different things to cut their hair. So they wanted that at home, right? For example, yoga at home, the at home keywords were really, really big. And usually market research tools like Ahrefs or maybe keyword planner in Google, they were not able to pick that up. So you're able to drive the wave of the trends, right? When it comes to YouTube. And a lot of people made a lot of money, as as the presenter said, because of that, because of they were seeing the trends, right? So I would invite you to find what are the trends in your e-com shop? What are the trends in your, how are people looking for different stuff? And what are the trends in your niche? So you can create content for that. Okay, that leads us to step number 2, which is optimization, okay? So once you've done your research, you have to optimize. You have to use those keywords, those tags, that into using those keywords to optimize your content, your titles, your description, your tags, your hashtags, right? Even if it's in Facebook, even if it's in Instagram, even if it's in YouTube. Now, how this looks like in YouTube is like this. So we have this video, it has like 637,000 views, and it's about doubling your speed learning, right? So if you see here, we have this, it's video tags, right? And it says something like how to speed read, right? Read faster, tips in fast reading, how to learn faster, how to learn accelerated learning technique, faster learning. This means that we've done our research and then we've taken the time to optimize the video so that YouTube knows, oh, wow, this video is about this. Because remember, as I said, YouTube is a search engine, and Facebook and Instagram, they're social platforms with a search engine, right? Now, why are we doing that, right? Why are we taking the time to do the research and optimize? Is because what we want to do is what I call the holy grail of YouTube, which is we want to get to the suggested section, right? It's like the online word of mouth, right? It's like the page 1 of Google is the suggested section. What we want is we want to be there so that we get suggested traffic, right? Imagine it's like if someone will recommend your product, right? Word of mouth is still in marketing one of the most powerful strategies. This is word of mouth online. So the tool that I use, the tool that I showed you before, is vidIQ. Okay, it's a plugin, super easy. It's free till a certain point. You can just go to Google it, put a plugin. That's it. Okay, so that gets us to content. Okay, and in content, there's a really big fat lie, right? That's from rock. That's the sea of content, and the big fat lie is this one, which is, content is king. Just create more and more and more content and it will work, right? Maybe you've heard about, Gary Vee and all that. And I want to say that it's not entirely true, okay? Content is important, but only content is king is actually total BS, right? It's total bullshit. Optimized content is king. Optimized content is king, not only content. And what I mean by that is, if you are, a business or a e-commerce store that is just creating content for the sake of content, but you're not doing research, you're not optimizing videos, you have to create around 10 times more content to get the same impact. And I wish I would have known this before, because I know that every channel that I lead, manage, consult, or advise, it will be 5 times more. Because imagine if you optimize your content, you can create 10, 15, 50, whatever your strategy is, piece of content and have the same impact. Listen closely. Have the same impact as creating 5 times more content. So you can have 3 or 4 or 5 times more impact by creating less content when you optimize. So not necessarily content is king, it's important, but optimized content is more important. Okay. And the idea of content is to create content based in the keywords your audience actually uses, which is the ones that we already did in step 1, which was research, right? creating content not off of what you want, of what you think that people want, but creating content off of what they want, right? Because you're not paying you, right? You're not grabbing one money in your pocket and putting it into your pocket. No, your clients are paying you. So you have to create content when it comes to keywords, based on keywords, okay? Now, I think that there's a lot of questions that they ask me in terms of like, what about long content, short content? How long is long? How short is short? So I'll tell you a little story. Okay. So I was with the head of Facebook Asia, and I asked her the same question, right? Like, man, you guys are always changing. Is it long? Is it short? What do I do? And she gave me this model. So listen closely. She said, like, Sebastian, every time that you see someone, you have to see how they consume their content. So for example, when you're in Instagram, you're leaning forward and you're watching your phone like this, right? So leaning forward content means fast content, means short content, means actionable content, stories, videos, Facebook, all of that is like your behavior is you actually lean forward. And lean backwards content, right, is you actually sit down, you lean backwards, and you're actually seeing content. You even maybe turn your phone. When your posture, when your behavior is more leaning backwards, it means that it's longer content, right? Now, how long is long? It depends a lot on the product, on the niche, on the industry. But what I've seen really, it's above 5 minutes, less than 12. Okay. And I'm also going to address like viral videos, right? Like, how do we get more views to our videos? We're an e-com store. We want to get more traction. People sometimes think that they get really hung up in the video editing. It has to be perfect, and music and sound and letters and all of that. And it couldn't be farther away from the truth, actually. The content is one of the most important things. What the video is saying, not really the video editing. I don't know if you guys have seen horrible freaking videos that actually explode. This is because the content is really good. Now, sometimes we spend so much time in the content and the video and the editing and the intro and all of that, right? And I need to be a editing genius. No, you don't need to be. I don't know how to edit, but I know how to keep the attention in the video. And I'm going to give you a script to show you that, by the way. So the audio is really important, right? If I'm seeing a piece of content and I cannot hear it, right, then doesn't matter how amazing the content is or how edited the video is, right? So this is the layers of our video. 45% is the importance of content. 35% is actually the audio, and the editing is actually 20%, right? Okay, so another important part is scripting, right? Like, do you script your video? Do you have someone who does it? Do I hire another author? Should I do it? Should I hire someone? I think there's 3 rules, which is you have to grab their attention, okay? And I call it the 30-second rule. It means that the first 30 seconds have to be so freaking sexy, so attention grabbing. It's kind of like the 3-second rule in Instagram and Facebook that I think it was really famous. YouTube is more like 30 seconds. If you do it too fast, people are like, I don't get it, and they will pop up. If they do it too long, then people will be like, this is boring. Now, the idea is that you keep them engaged, right? That it's not boring. And that you always add a call to action, okay, on it. So I'm going to share a good video. Let me see if I can. I will put my headphones so and can hear it. So this is a good example.
How do you learn a subject or skill in half the time? Let's do this together. I want you to right now think of a subject or skill that you just want to learn fast. You want to learn it rapidly at an accelerated rate. You want to learn faster so you can achieve faster. I want you to remember 4 letters, F-A-S-T. F-A-S-T, fast. And the F stands for forget. You're like, Jim, you're this world-class memory expert. You're this coach to all these celebrities and CEOs. Why are you starting with forgetting? You want to forget what you already know about the subject. So you can.
So this is a really good video. The entrance is actually really good. It has like a like a really good hook, exactly what you will know. And you see that he never actually presents himself until later in the video. So it's like, what would you learn? What would you do? Right? You guys notice that the first thing, right?
How do you learn a subject or skill in half the time? Let's do this.
How do you learn a subject of skill in half the time, right? It's opening up with a question. There's an actual trigger. I'm going to show you another example also.
What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here, and today we're talking about how you can take photos like this and turn them into this by creating your own fantasy composite photos in Photoshop. And ooh, does it look badass?
You see how like in less than around 15 seconds, he gives you what are you going to learn, what are you going to get, and you're hooked, right? Like that was actually 15 seconds, and it happened so fast, right? Now I'm going to show you a bad example, and you guys be the judge. Now that you know what to look for, why is it bad?
Welcome back.
Hi.
Hi. What's going on? You got new glasses.
I'm wearing these glasses, they're blue light glasses, and I'm wearing them because I didn't really feel like putting on makeup, and this sort of hides my eyes. Put on lipstick, but it feels really weird. They look like Courtney Love.
You need more red.
I mean, we're already like a minute in, and we haven't really learned anything, you know, like we don't know what's going on, like just about glasses, is this value? So of course the drop off will be really, really crazy. Now, this is it's a bad example, but you don't know, like it's really obvious now, but you don't know how many people actually make this mistake, right? That's why I'm pointing it out. So 4 things to take into consideration, right, as well, is you don't need a fancy camera either, right? You don't need a fancy camera. You do need a clear audio and great lighting, right? Clear audio, 35% importance, an interesting background. And you can also use a lot of stock footage as option. Those are just some recommendations that I take into consideration, when either doing a video or like kind of getting into the whole mindset of like, it doesn't have to be extremely perfect, right? Okay, so here I'm going to give you a magical script. I call it a magical script structure of how do we actually retain more customers, and how do we retain their attention, and how do we deliver the message systematically, okay? Which is actually really, really important. Like, what's the structure of it, right? It doesn't matter if you do e-commerce or you're in an agency or you have your own product or info products or whatever. The whole pattern stays. So what we've tested and tried a lot is the overall length is like 6 to 12 minutes, right? And this is six steps. Now you have the hook, right? Which is an intriguing one-liner that aims to shock or educate the buyers. I would recommend that you take a picture of this. And then you tell them why they need to stay till the end, right? Why would they need to stay till the end? And then you go into pure content, right? And this is what people are searching for. Remember that we did content, right? So it's not necessarily, it's what they're searching for, what you want to tell them. That's like around 1 to 9 minutes. And then I break down, okay, what type of content? You tell them why is it important, the problems, the facts, right? Like, why is it important? Like, why is it important right now? What are 1 to 3 solutions that you found, and what have you learned, right? Hey, I've learned X, Y, or Z from implementing these things because this is a really big problem, right? And also how you come up with your solution, a bit of your story. Like, hey, I come up with this it really depends on the product, but that you get what I'm saying, right? And why it works. Talk about who has this work for, right? And then at the end, you actually do your personal introduction. You tell them, why should they listen to you and your 5-second story? And at the end, you actually send them somewhere. You actually tell them, click in the link in the description if you want to go deeper in these topics. And you contact them the fastest, right? Usually to a free something, a free webinar, a free product, a free consultation, a discount, something that they are kind of, really inclined to click, right? This has generated millions of value and dollars. Script is freaking epic. Now, I think there's also a lot of like, how do we distribute a video properly, right? That's why I added it here. So distribution is key, but the right distribution is also key. And the logic is this: when you create content for YouTube, it's like you have a book, okay? You have a book, and that's your YouTube video, that's your book. Now, one chapter, I usually do it like this, of the book is your IGTV and your Facebook, okay? And then one paragraph is your IG post,
right? One paragraph of the book. And then one sentence is your IG story. So for example, let's say that you have 3 ways, to 3 ways to win more money by creating video, right? So that would be a YouTube video. One of the ways, you already have 3 videos for Facebook and for Instagram, right? Because you have one of the ways, and you have your IGTV, which is the same, and then you have an IG post, which is basically one of the ways, and then you have maybe a one-liner from one of the ways that you say, which is an actual sentence in the IG story, right? Now, when I say that right distribution is key, you also have to take into consideration time frames, right? So YouTube, as I said, around from 5 to 12 minutes. Facebook is around 3 minutes, IG post 60 seconds, IG story. Now we have Reels as well, which is less than a minute. Twitter, 30 seconds, and LinkedIn, 10 minutes. So the right distribution is key and the right logic behind it. Okay, so the last step before I wrap, I think I need like 2 to 3 minutes more. It's kaching, right? It's conversion. And the whole logic from this is, you have to send your audience to one place. You have to send your audience to one place from all of your conversion points. YouTube has 6 different conversion points: your descriptions, your pinned comments, your cards, your end screens, your community. Because sometimes I see a lot of people who have YouTube channels or start YouTube channels, and they have like so many links in their descriptions. They're sending it to their Facebook, to their Instagram, to their page, to their grandma, So an example here is, for example, we have this channel in Spanish, but it's the same logic, and we have only one link going to the actual webinar, right? It could be to it could be to the e-com store, right? One link at the top, giving value and also putting a bit of curiosity. Same thing with the pinned comment, right? It's only one CTA, because if you have many CTAs, you're fooling yourself that people will go to all of your social media. No, they have the paradox of choice. By bias, if we're giving so many options, we don't take action, right? Another one is the end screen. Okay, adding the end screen. There's some elements that you can add there as well, and adding the cards, right? So, but the main idea of conversion is to send them to one place where you can contact them the fastest. Okay. And something that I wanted to add in this presentation that I've added that I haven't shared before, it's a not so known growth hack that is really, really important, right? So, this is a growth hack that I don't see more people in the YouTube space, or that they're looking into YouTube to use it as a hack to grow, right? And we have used it to grow systematically like crazy. And this is called external video embedding. And as you know, and it says here, if you want to rank your videos with YouTube SEO the right way, you first need to understand the ranking signals. Now, ranking signals is what we talked about, watch time, titles, thumbnails, like good optimization, view count, number of shares, right? Subscribers, all of that. But few people pay attention, because sometimes it could be a lot of work, right? Creating a video, uploading it in YouTube. That there's this thing called video embeds, right? And this is how many times your video was actually shared in other platforms. So let me tell you an example, something that we got to scale like 300,000 views a channel in 1 month, because what we did is we noticed that if we did this strategy, okay, if I did this service, we could systematically, what we do is we grab one video, and let me show you how it works. We grab one video, we embed it into different social platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, archive.org, and like this high authority popular video platforms. So we do 100 per one video, and then that creates a ranking signal back to the video because YouTube loves when their videos are embedded, right? Their videos embedded in other websites because that increases YouTube's reach. So automatically that video gets like around 1,000 to 3,000 views. And if we do it for 100, then we're able to command 300,000 views, right? And we're able to increase the probability to get to the suggested section, which, if you remember from my talk, I said the suggested video section, the recommended section, is the most important section, right? So that's actually one of the unknown
not so known growth hacks, video embedding, external video embedding to actually explode your videos faster, which I've used. I have a service for that, which we actually help videos explode. So the summary, right, to close is the step one is research, which is find the keyword your audience uses to find a solution to their problem, right? The second one was optimization from Rock. Use those keywords to optimize your content, your titles, your description, your tags, your hashtags. Then content basically is create content based on the keywords your audience uses, right? Not what you want to tell them, but your audience uses. And then the kaching is you have to send your audience to one place and avoid sending them around, okay? So before we wrap up, I just want you to do a mental note before I give you the gift. If you've just been here waiting for the gift, haven't forgot, is what is one thing you have learned today? So I want you to write it down. You can even share it in the chat for the organizers to see. That you will take action tomorrow. What is one thing that you've learned today from this talk that you will take action tomorrow? So just think about it. And for your gift, okay, you just have to go to bit.ly/Sebastian Billo, and you will get basically everything that I talked to, the script, the tools, everything is there. It's a document of everything that I said with tools, everything, so that you don't even have to look at your notes, and it's just a little spreadsheet there and you can download it super fast, right? And now my last message to close is, a mentor of mine, he always says, imperfect action makes you richer, okay? Imperfect action makes you richer. So what I want is with that action step that you wrote, right, that you learned, I want you to send me a message, right, with your one action, and I will pick a couple of you guys to give you like a no cost, 25 minutes free consulting. You can send me a message in your LinkedIn of what you learned today, what are you going to take action on, and I'm going to pick some messages, maybe like 2 or 3, and I'm going to jump on a call with you guys. So thank you guys so much. I want to thank Billo Summit. Be sure to check your gift here, or the organizers can share it as well. And I think we have some time for questions as well. Thank you.